Welcome to a B-Roll Brothers podcast. This is ABC DVD, two brothers' alphabetical journey through their movie collection that can't be counted on the fingers of one hand. I'm Josh.
And I'm Noah.
And today we're talking about Jack Reacher, a 2012 movie. Jack Reacher made about $80 million domestically and $138 million worldwide. There will be spoilers. We're not really doing a full review. All that jazz. It's based on the book One Shot by Lee Child. Written and directed by Christopher McQuarrie. Probably mispronouncing that. He was the writer of Usual Suspects and Edge of Tomorrow. But the director of Way of the Gun and a couple Mission Impossibles, he did Rogue Nation and Fallout.
All right, so that's where he knows Tom Cruise.
Yeah, there's a lot of Tom Cruise. They apparently like working together. Speaking of, the main character is Tom Cruise. He plays Jack Reacher. Do you want to play the game, or is that just for me?
That's just for you, but it's like, I'd say Mission Impossible, Jerry Maguire, and Top Gun?
You got 2 out of the 3. They gave it Last Samurai.
Oh, yeah.
Well. I don't know what IMDb chooses as their most prevalent. It's a fun game to say, oh, you chose that one. Rosamund Pike plays Helen. She's from Gone Girl, Die Another Day, and Pride and Prejudice, the more recent one.
Mm-hmm.
And then I chose Werner Herzog as the Zek. He's more known as a director, but he has done some acting. He's been in The Mandalorian, Salt and Fire. As a director, he's probably known for directing Grizzly Man, that documentary.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very German.
Very German. All right, now I'm going to do my announcer voice. One morning in an ordinary town, 5 people are shot dead in a seemingly random attack. All evidence points to a single suspect, an ex-military sniper who is quickly brought into custody. The man's interrogation yields one statement: "Get Jack Reacher." Reacher, an enigmatic ex-army investigator, believes that authorities have the right man, but agrees to help the sniper's defense attorney. However, the more Reacher delves into the case, the less clear-cut it appears.
Mm-hmm. I want to point out this right away. Pittsburgh, you are an ordinary small town.
Yeah, just small town, unknown,
No one knows you exist. I don't care if you have a football team. You are an ordinary town.
Yeah, take that, Pittsburgh.
So yes, it takes place in Pittsburgh. You know, the intro is, is one of those action-y kind of things where it's like, it's the dramatic music. You see the mystery man pull up and do his thing, and then like when it comes time for the sniper shot, is like everything just goes silent.
I mean, that's something I've noticed about this entire movie, is that it does not rely on soundtrack to enhance its action. It actually relies on diegetic noise, which is the sound inside the film.
Yes,
it starts with the sniper, you just hearing his breathing and the movement, and then the reloading. But the car chase later on is just the car engine. The fight sequence in the rain is just the rain. There is no music.
No, and it works because it definitely heightens the sensation, especially when he's looking at various people, and you're like, oh, God, no, not him. Yeah. No, not the little girl.
Not the little girl. And you're going, oh, it is a very tense and slightly disturbing sequence to open up the movie.
Yeah.
And I didn't see this in theaters. This was a film suggested by my friend Sean, and we watched it together. And this I was expecting a Tom Cruise Mission Impossible-like movie. I was not expecting not really a mystery, but a procedural seeing how they find the clues and stuff. This is definitely a mystery of why the crime was done more than how or who did it.
No, and it put me in the mindset of like 90s mysteries, like the Pelican Brief or something like that, where there is action, but the meat of it is there's something going on, and we're gonna watch in this case, a detective figure out as everything is unfolding right in front of him.
Yeah. And we were talking about the sniper noise and all that. I decided to pause the movie when the first line of dialogue actually happens, and that's 8 minutes and 30 seconds into the film. Okay. Most of the part is just noise. And just, first the sniper shots and the attack, and then the initial investigation by the cops.
Well, and what this does, and I know other movies have done it, is you realize they have the wrong guy from the get-go.
Oh, yes.
And it's fun because you're like, wait, why do they have the wrong guy? And so you're kind of going along knowing a little bit more than the main character. And that's this Jack Reacher, which is the movie's first MacGuffin of, you have the DA and the detective sitting there basically going over his credentials, so we all know he's a badass and everything.
Yes, it's the exposition file that they got of who is Jack Reacher. He's this ex-military. And then he comes home and he's a ghost. And then we see, Tom Cruise. We don't see his face, but him going to a Goodwill, paying everything with cash. He is clearly off the grid.
Right, but I think it also, doesn't, banter around. It's like, he just shows up. It's not like, we have to find him. Like, well, he's out in the lobby.
It is the master of timing. I mean, it is that joke of, we'll never find Jack Reacher. Jack Reacher's going to find you if we ever see him. Knock, knock, knock. There's a Jack Reacher here to see you. It's like, he's so good.
It's like any Law and Order episodes. Like, we need to figure this out. Wait, the phone rings. I bet that's the answer right there. Same thing here. But I think it also sets this up is like, it's not 100% serious because the dialogue in this film is very witty and funny. There's a lot of good banter back and forth.
Yeah, there's some good stuff. We're also introduced to the DA played by Richard Jenkins, another repeat, who was in Cabin in the Woods, and the defense attorney of Helen Pike, and we learned that they are father and daughter.
Yep.
Which is just a nice...
Just a different thing.
Another relationship instead of just a contrarian, you're just trying to get this guy off. It's like, no, they have a familiar relationship.
Well, and she's obviously in it for various reasons, but it gives them a chance for Jack Reacher to say, like, why do I not believe this guy? Well, let me give you the background, and basically saying that, there are 4 people who join the military: family, patriots, people for a job, and psychopaths, and this guy is a psychopath. And saying that he went and killed some people, but the movie doesn't let you, kind of revel in that too long. It's like, but they were bad guys. He just didn't know that.
Yeah, Jack Reacher has like this intense way of talking and has all this information. And I love when the Detective Emerson, played by David, I'm going to mispronounce it, Oyelowo. Oh, nope, I'm not going to try. He said, it's like, Jack Reacher, it was weird meeting you. And they just kind of smile. And it's like, yeah, people have said that about me too.
But, she, the DA, she convinces him to join the case, even though he's like, I'm out, but, it's like that Tom Cruise pause of like, okay, I'm a little bit interested in this. And so he's on the case, but he makes her do homework as well of going and meeting the families. But it is this fun thing of him visualizing the crime scene, talking to the detective, him saying that he doesn't need to take notes, and the detective being like, well, what's the serial number? And he says, well, I know what date on the quarter is. But he does this thing that's a very Tom Cruise, because he did this in A Few Good Men, when he's walking away from the detective saying, it's like, no, I'm done. He goes, but one more thing.
The Columbo turn.
The Columbo. One more thing before I go.
Yeah.
It's like, he stops and he does this one more thing. It's like, why pay the meter? And it is a fun thing, because I'm sure most of the people in the audience didn't think, oh yeah, he did put a quarter. That's an odd thing.
Yeah, they showed it during the sequence, and this is just the start of the curiosity of this guy who we learn later on that Jack Reacher warned of. Is like, he's a psychopath, and if he ever stepped out of line, I was going to kill him. Why would he call for me if he actually did this? And then he starts to see the cracks in the case.
Like, it's too perfect. Like, things are lined up way too well, and even he can see, like, no, this is not fitting together the way it should. It's too clean.
Yeah, and then we go to the bar scene. And this is where the casting is kind of called into question. Now, I think Tom Cruise does a phenomenal job as Jack Reacher, but I have not read the books. But I have seen the Amazon series, which is also phenomenal. And Jack Reacher is described as this 6'5", 250-pound, muscle-bound giant of a man.
Okay.
And it's supposed to be like that intimidating, he could kill you with one punch, but he is also super intelligent. Tom Cruise is super intelligent and super intimidating, but he is not a huge guy. So there was complaints about him. I think you can overlook it because it's not essential to the plot of this movie.
No.
But we do get his first action sequence of the bar scene where he is kind of set up to be this scumbag and is taken out in a bar fight. And it's that fun, him describing what's going to happen and no one believing him, and then it playing out exactly that way where he can beat up 5 guys without ever getting beat up.
Right, and I appreciate it. It's a little bit of a turn on its head because we have seen people like, well, I'm gonna punch you in the throat, then I'm gonna throw this chair at you. Is that it doesn't play out 100% because you're like, really, you're not gonna run away? Okay, I'm gonna hit your guy a few more times. Maybe you'll get the point of you're not gonna beat me.
Yeah,
but it is good that along this way we do get that setup of like, no, he is smart. Mm-hmm. He has an excellent memory. He is good at what he does, and he doesn't even try to hide it. He's not showing off. He's like, I can do this. I just really don't want to.
Yeah, it's that conservation of energy of it's like, this would be easier if you just walked away. I don't need to beat you up, but I will, because that will be the next most easy thing to do. Mm-hmm. And then he gets arrested because it was a setup.
Yep.
And while that's happening, we then go to Rosamund Pike doing her homework that he sent him of meeting all the victims' families and letting them know that she's going to defend the guy that they think killed their families and having to learn why about them.
Yeah.
And this is a really nice recap of the opening because at the beginning you don't know what's going on and it's terrifying, and now you get to learn about all the people who are killed.
No, and he basically says, what did you learn? And she kind of gives like a play-by-play, like there was a nanny, she was off buying gifts. There was this cleaning lady, she was off getting gifts. There's Nancy, who's buying a gift for her husband. There's Darren, who's going to go get flower gifts, and then there's
a woman delivering documents.
And so are all naturally like, oh man, everyone was out doing nice things. And Jack Reacher in just a moment says like, but were they all above board? And he just said, no. 2 people were already having an affair. And you're like, wait, what? And then he spells it out. And you're like, oh, crap. Yeah, I didn't, You
don't piece it together. It's like, oh, yeah, the one guy bought flowers for his wife because they had a fight. And he's like, no, you don't buy flowers at the beginning of the day. You buy at the end. He was out for an affair. And there's another woman who didn't run away, who bought a watch. They clearly were having an affair. But it's like, but that's still a smokescreen. That's not what we're here for.
Right. And so it still gives that MacGuffin of, but why? And we're not there yet.
Yeah.
We then now go to what who have been the MacGuffin men, the people hiding in the background following Jack Reacher this whole time. And we find out Werner Herzog does not accept failure.
No.
He's like, I chewed my fingers off to stay alive. What are you going to do to, make it up to me for screwing up?
Yeah, it's that Kobayashi Maru kind of thing of, can you self-mutilate yourself to survive? And he's saying he did in prison. Why can't you do it now? And one of their lackeys gets shot in the head because he can't.
Yeah.
And it is Werner Herzog is an intimidating man. I can imagine that I would be terrified of him reading a children's book like, one fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish.
Now go to sleep.
And you would go to sleep. But, He seems to have actually a genuine lightheartedness. If you learned about him from the making of The Mandalorian, he played around with the Yoda puppet. He's on Rick and Morty talking about people making things portray their penises. He is a weird guy, but he's an intense guy.
He works. Well, and it also sets up Werner Herzog's character of like, this guy is in extremes. He does not care.
Yeah.
So, but back to the to the investigation is Tom Cruise is like, okay, we need to find a gun range, and I need to go to the auto parts store.
And did you see the name of the auto parts store?
What was it?
It was Default Auto Parts Store. So it was literally the auto parts store.
It's like, insert auto part name here.
Yeah, but it was like, it's a pun, and it feels this is the one.
Yes, and we get to meet Gary. Gary, get out of the room, Gary. You're not intimidating anyone.
And he talks to Sandy, the woman who tried to set him up because she was intimidated by the other men.
And Sandy spills the beans real easy. Yeah. And then she tries to come on, and there's just like, Sandy, read the room. Yeah. I know this is 100% her character, and it is a very tragic story of like, this person obviously is going from like one bad relationship to another and just cannot get out. But Sandy says, Jeb is the guy who you want to talk to. He's running meth up at his house. He's the one who paid us all up to set you up. So
and then Jack Reacher goes to investigate, and the guys show up to stop him.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like Jeb's place. It's like crack mamas make the best security system.
Yeah, you don't believe the crack mamas, but I love this fight sequence because it's Three Stooges-esque, but it also shows kind of that realism of if you don't know how to fight in close quarters, you're going to just hurt yourself.
They are the worst goons ever. But I now know what happened to Will Smith's shower curtain in iRobot.
Yes, it was just torn.
It's just torn down. Yep. But yeah, no, he kicks the crap out of these yokels, and
he uses one to beat another. It's like if no weapons available, I will use you to beat another one of you.
Mm-hmm. So and we have a great drive away scene, and he's on to the next thing, and where he's now starting to realize we're getting to the turn of no, he does not believe now that they have the right shooter.
Yeah, there's no reason that they would throw him off the scent and try to kill him if they have the right, and the prep work just does not add up.
Well, yeah, because he comes to Helen's office and says like, "Hey, I've been being tailed. Just run the tag."
Yeah,
and it comes up with the cement company that they had already previously mentioned of like, okay, now there's a coincidence here.
And that's where we get the idea of 4 rando murders for the real target.
Right.
Which was the woman handing in the documents.
Mm-hmm. But Werner Herzog is already a step ahead and goes and kills Sandy with his goons and sets Jack Reacher up.
Yeah.
And he's like, we had to have an amazing car chase scene.
Yes.
Which is actually a lot of fun. And I think it all pays off at the end when he just steps out and goes to the bus stop, and the people look left at the helicopter, look right at the police coming, and just hands him a hat and like, bus stop people do not like the cops.
Yeah, no one likes the cops in this small town.
Of Pittsburgh.
And I love the conversation when they're trying to figure out should they find the real shooter or not, and she's saying, I'm a district defense attorney, I don't need to do that, I just need to find reasonable doubt. And my brain's going, if you find the real shooter, that would make me as a juror be reasonably doubting that this guy did it. But you know what, you defend your client the way you want to defend him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we found the shooting range, and we get to go out, and the shooting range is run by Robert Duvall.
Yeah, Cash.
And he wants to play a game.
Yes.
But Robert Duvall picks up on, Jack Reacher. He's been using second base Yankees.
Second baseman as his cover, and he catches it right away.
Right away. But, he's a fun, grizzled, old veteran.
He's a Marine.
Yeah, who seems to have a code of conduct.
Mm-hmm. And gives him, a test of if you can shoot as well as any really decent shooter, then I will answer your questions. And Jack Reacher barely makes it, but
but he does it, and and he gets him on. But meanwhile, Helen goes to her DA daddy, and I think this is one thing the movie does real fun is because it gives you two chances. Like it's either the cop,
Emerson, or her father,
and the whole time you're like, well, it's her dad.
Yeah.
Well, it's her dad. And it turns on a dime, and it's like, oh, it's not her dad.
Yeah.
Well, now we know who it is, and who does she run into?
Yeah. And it's that classic, whatever you do, don't tell anyone or investigate about this. They will kill you. And what does she immediately do?
Well, he's like, are you scared? Yeah. Well, don't be scared. Be smart. And well, we decided to be scared instead.
Yeah.
But we do get the fun showdown at the end, which we knew was coming because this is where Tom Cruise
makes his bread and butter. Yeah, it's the fight at the quarry.
It's the fight at the quarry of Robert Duvall as backup. Mm-hmm. He's going to kind of cover Jack's back, as best he can because he's kind of shooting blind.
And he says, I'm not going to kill anyone for you. I just because I know who you are and just because you're military doesn't mean I'm going to kill random strangers. So he's like covering fire, but there is a handicap.
Mm-hmm. And he definitely, like you said, it's like there is no music. Yeah. There's a lot of running and dodging. It's in the rain.
Yeah.
And we get that obligatory one last fight. I'm going to throw my gun down. We're going to do fisticuffs like men. And we're going to end this.
And I have to say, I applaud the way they have filmed all the action in this movie. Mm-hmm. There's not quick cuts. We see everyone's faces. It's not anyone's stunt double. There's no jarring shaky cam. You see the action is happening.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that immensely. And I think a lot of audience people got tired of the shaky cam, the Jason Bourne-esque.
Yeah.
Sure, I'm sure something's happening, but I can't tell what it is.
No, and I think as more practical comes back into movies, you want to see things happening.
Yeah. And then we get the final showdown between Werner Herzog and Tom Cruise, which is one of wits and intelligence of Werner Herzog saying, no, do you think I'm going to go to jail? I'm an old man. You came here. You're wanted by the law. There's dead cops. There's my dead employees. Who do you think's going to jail here? And Tom Cruise just thinks and is like, well, I have Helen's testimony and she'll be my witness. Like, do you think the implication is like, do you think she'll live to testify? And so he's a pragmatic, like that, least amount of energy, shoots him in the head.
Yeah, which I think a lot of people in movies are like, oh, just shoot him. It's like, just shoot him. This isn't going to work. Oh, he did shoot him. Okay.
Yeah, it's not oh, I'm not going to kill you. You're the bad guy. You killed all his henchmen. I don't think you need to take the high road. And I like that Jack Reacher's like, nope, I'm going to kill him. I did my job. I'm going to now disappear again and go into my next book.
Well, and then he disappears, and you get this one last final scene, which also reminds me of like the '90s things where the guy comes out of a coma, he's talking to Helen and says like, well, I obviously did it, and she goes, well, how would you do it? And he says word for word how he would do it, and it's the exact opposite of how it happened. It was exactly how Jack Reacher said, like he'd be up on the bridge with the sun to his back, the easier way.
Yeah, and that's convincing her father that's like, okay,
this isn't...
Yeah, this is no longer winnable. There's going to be a reasonable doubt.
Yep,
yeah.
And it ends. It
just ends.
It just ends, and I appreciate a movie where it's like, yes, obviously there are sequels after this, but this was like, no, it's a standalone, by itself, just and I just watched it, a few days ago. It's like, this was a lot of fun for me. I enjoyed it. It reminded me of things like The Accountant, I said The Pelican Brief, just like there is action, but it's fun to watch the mythology of a really intelligent person going through the process of figuring out the crime.
Yeah, and it was one, I don't know if it was the trailer or just my own bias of saying, oh, this is going to be a Tom Cruise running and gunning stupid action film, and I'm glad that I was proven wrong, and I became part of my collection because of it, because it's a really good, smart movie. The sequel, not as much. I mean, it's not a terrible movie, but it's not this one. If you like the character, I would say maybe the Amazon Prime series is more akin to this than the sequel Tom Cruise movie is.
No, and I think I'll definitely catch it now that I've, gotten a taste for this world.
And it is a fascinating, that intimidating, oh, he can kill me with a punch, but he's also smarter than me too. It's that you usually don't get that out of the giants. They're usually just the muscle.
Right.
And you just got to have that faith in movies. You got to have that belief that the actors and the directors know what they're doing. You just got to keep that faith going, because our next movie is keeping the faith. Yeah, that's what I did this time.
Do I have to say like, dear God, about that?
I don't know. I think that one wasn't as bad as my other ones. I think that was a better segue as segues go.
No, fair enough.
But yeah, keeping the faith, rom-com. Hopefully you can catch it. Hopefully you've watched this movie. If not, please do, because I would suggest it. And we'll see you next time.
All right, you keep trucking along.
All right, bye.
Bye.
All right, well, I should probably pull up the synopsis, which I did not have prepared. I had all this time. No. I really gotta learn to do this, because I'm not gonna write it down.
Is it funny that like my vamp is just go to a music? It's like, it's not talk. Just start singing something. God, you brought the children out. Now they're singing.
Okay.
God knows we don't want people to know that we actually are working at this.
We know we don't work.